right, Jordan. Well, first of all, thanks for having this nice little conversation today. But anyway, we'll just start off with some of the more recent stuff. Just last weekend, you had a sort of a last-minute deal over at Le Mans in the LMGT3 class in a Ferrari. How did that deal come together, Ben?
Yeah, it was a bit of a late call. My buddy Marco Sorensen, another driver, reached out and asked if I was interested in doing Le Mans, if I was free that weekend, and he knew of a team that was looking for a driver, a Danish group, and he's Danish, so yeah, immediately said yes. I was free, and we quickly got in contact with Johnny Larson from the team at Formula Racing, and yeah, quickly made the deal. Worked hard for a one-day test, got to know the team and them, and then yeah, I was able to go to the race, so it was good timing.
Yeah, I'm happy you actually got a little test time in the car, since we're talking about a Ferrari 296 here. It's a car that I don't believe you would have driven prior to that test. What did you think about it?
Yeah, it was much different. Obviously, most of my background was in GM cars and GT, between Corvettes and Cadillacs and Camaros. So it was much different. Obviously, like the ergonomics, the inside the car, much different. All the layout was different. Thankfully it was in English, being a Ferrari, but it was very nice. The drivability was much different, obviously being a turbo car, but yeah, much more on the nose sensation, but at Le Mans, a place where we were always kind of searching for some front grip, so I felt like it suited the track pretty well. Unfortunately, the race didn't totally go our way. We got hit in the middle of the night, but my teammate Conrad is only 18 years old, set the fast lap of the race, so definitely a guy everyone's going to be looking at in the future. He did a great job. His dad Johnny did a great job through the changing conditions in the night. So it's unfortunate we got hit, but yeah, we ended up 8th with no issues other than the contact that we had there, and the team performed flawlessly all the way through the night. So yeah, it was a great weekend, great experience, great to get to know those guys. But I guess that's what kind of happens in some of these endurance races.
Yeah, did the wet weather they had in Le Mans play a role in that contact?
I think at that point it might have. I just got hit in the back from a McLaren. I think he made a very late move in the first chicane. He might have gotten in the water. Kind of judging by how fast he entered the corner, he wasn't going to make the corner anyway, even if I wasn't there. So maybe he did get on a bit of a damp section that kind of lost that deceleration, but he probably should have known that since he was driving when it was wet as well. So definitely unfortunate, but it's part of Le Mans.
Alright, man. Now, outside Le Mans, you're back here in WeatherTech this year with WTR Andretti. You and Louis Delatraz are currently 15 points with a sweet victory at Sebring. How would you describe your year to this point?
I'd say up and down. Obviously, Daytona, we didn't have the pace to really battle at the front, but we finished 3rd. Thanks to Louis' kind of really strong stint at the end. Sebring, Louis had the spectacular finish to get the win there, and then Long Beach was a little disappointing. Detroit was disappointing. Laguna was okay. So I'd say up and down overall. I think being 5th in the points, I think we're 139 points out of the lead right now. So it's not too far, but I think at this point in the season we need to start, getting consistent podiums and fighting for wins again. So we definitely got our work cut out for us to get kind of back to the front of the field. But I think if you've ever seen kind of Wayne Taylor Racing's history and championships, we always usually close the seasons on a pretty strong feeling. So yeah, I like our chances still.
Yeah, 2 of the races we've had this year were the street races in Long Beach and Detroit. During your previous stint in prototypes in the DPI era, the Cadillacs seem to have a big advantage over everyone else on street courses. Is that a little closer now?
Yeah, I think the old DPI, the kind of the designs and the strategies that the different manufacturers had definitely suited different tracks. The Orica used to suit like the flat tracks like Laguna, Road America, Watkins Glen, and the bumpy tracks suited the Cadillac like the street courses. So I think coming to GTP now, everyone seems a bit closer overall, between the tracks. There's no one car that fits one track better than the other as much as it used to. So kind of makes it more interesting for a whole season as a whole. Everyone's competitive at every track. And yeah, when we come to a race, literally any car can win, so makes it pretty tricky to come in these weekends and fight for wins.
And here with WTR Andretti, your mount is the Acura ARX 06. It's a nice looking piece. What's it like to drive?
It is very nice. Obviously, much different to the old DPIs. That was the last prototype I drove, so it's got 30% less downforce. It's got way more power. Obviously, way more electronics, kind of with the hybrid system and brake-by-wire and all those things. So it was a lot to learn at the beginning of the year, understanding all the systems and how to work everything on the steering wheel. But it's become a little bit more second nature while driving to kind of use those tools to your advantage. But I think that kind of makes it fun for a driver to kind of still have a big say in developing the car. We can give feedback, and the next day we can see it, put on the car. Where in GT these days, it's so homologated that any feedback the driver gives, the development's kind of done at that point. You're just kind of fine-tuning little setup adjustments. So as a driver, it's very rewarding to be in this class to kind of see your feedback kind of being used as well.
Yeah, with all the electrical doodads and stuff on the car. How long did it really take you to get into a proper flow in the Acura?
Thankfully Daytona and Sebring were our endurance races to start the year, so you get a lot of seat time. You don't need to be right up to speed at the beginning of those races, so you can kind of take your time getting up to speed, learning the systems, figuring out what it likes, what it doesn't like on those tracks. So I think by the time I got to Long Beach, I was, ready to go, kind of up to speed on everything. So once I started getting the sprint race, I felt pretty comfortable.
This week we have 11 GTP cars with Lamborghini coming in for their part-time deal. What do you think about the GTP class as a whole right now?
I think it's great. I think, every manufacturer can win at this point. We've seen every manufacturer pretty much be fastest at one point this year. I think Lamborghini's only done a couple of races, so they haven't shown their true speed on the American side, but I think everyone else has the speed to win. It's just about nailing everything and executing a full race to kind of get that result.
Yeah, they were fast in testing last year, but we'll see what they can do this weekend. Speaking of this weekend, forecast is sketchy, I guess. I think I read that you've never driven the ARX 06 in the rain.
Yep, that's true.
That might get a little tough out there on Sunday if it were to rain. Obviously, you're a pro, but if you've never driven a race car in the rain and you have to do it in anger during a race, how do you adjust to that situation?
It'll be tricky for sure. It's a different car, but at the same time, it's a race car. It's got four wheels and a steering wheel, so you just have to figure out the limits of it, where you can push it, where you need to be careful. Obviously, Watkins is a very high-speed track, so very high commitment to kind of get that lap time out of it. But yeah, it's going to be tricky. Obviously, you also throw in all the different classes of car with traffic. It'll add in some more spice. But I think Louis obviously qualified the car at Petit last year in the rain on poles. The car is obviously pretty good in the rain, so I don't think we're too afraid of it at this point of the weekend.
This year, you got Louis Delatraz as your teammate, a man who comes very highly recommended after a series of victories in LMP2 in Europe. You've had 5 races with him now. What's it like working with him?
Yeah, he's been great. Obviously, one of the top, prototype drivers in the world. He just got pole at Le Mans last week in LMP2 by almost a full second. So definitely one of the quickest guys out there, and he showed that with us, at Daytona and Sebring this year, closing those races, so well. So he's been great, obviously as a teammate and as a friend as well. He's a super fun guy. We play video games during the week together when he's back home in Switzerland. So it's been going well, and our whole group of 4 drivers with Ricky and Philippe as well. It's a good core group of guys. We all get along well, and we all push each other as well, which is nice.
What kind of gaming preferences you guys have? Like actual racing games or like FPSs?
We mix it up. We do a bit of iRacing before the weekends, and then a bit of Call of Duty as well to let some anger out.
Yes. There's frustration. You might as well get it out now, so it doesn't affect you on the track.
Exactly.
Now, in addition to all your exploits with the Corvette team last year, you also had some NASCAR exploits. You ran Circuit of the Americas and placed in the injured Chase Elliott, and then 2 Xfinity races for Coley. What was the biggest takeaway from those experiences?
I think it's just not being afraid to jump into something new and challenge yourself. Obviously, I think jumping into the Hendrick Chase Elliott situation, I was obviously super excited to get the opportunity, but as soon as I kind of got the okay that I was going to do it, I immediately went into like, holy cow, this is kind of scary that I actually have to do this now and figure out how to drive in front of a world audience with 50 minutes of practice. So it was super intimidating to go into it, and I almost regretted it at the beginning before I got to the weekend. But going through the whole experience, with Hendrick Motorsports, they were so good to me, kind of getting me up to speed and learning everything. And the weekend itself, I thought, went so well. Practice, we were quick. Qualifying, we were quick. The race obviously didn't go super well, but I had a great time. It was a great experience. And then, that led to the COG opportunity at Portland and Charlotte, which was fun. That's a great group of guys as well. Still keep in contact with some of them. And then, the late model was another one kind of out of left field, which also kind of stemmed off of working with Greg Ives from Hendrick. He got me in contact with the late model team and to do North Wilkesboro, which is even further out of my comfort zone to do an oval. But that was honestly one of the most fun weekends I've had. Just kind of going to an old school racetrack, old school weekend where everyone's showing up, have a good time, and try qualify for the race. And the racing itself was a blast. Racing on a short oval like that, kind of bumping guys around to make moves. And I think I was close to doing it again this year. Just the schedules didn't line up to go back to North Wilkesboro, but that's something I still want to try get to do some more in the future.
Yeah, this is before they repaved North Wilkesboro, so you had pavement that's older than either of us out there. Just how was it dealing with the extreme tire wear in the late model?
Yeah, it was it was quite shocking. I think the speed difference from practice on old set to qualifying was just like driving a different race car, which was a good experience to kind of understand. When you watch a cup race, it's so easy to just think, they're just driving in a circle, but even driving on that little short oval in a late model with, a quarter of the horsepower, you're still just on the edge of grip and crashing the whole time. So it gives you a whole new respect for when you watch those guys every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on track, that they're always on the limit and pushing and racing for every position. They fight for everything. So it gives you kind of a new outlook on what they do, and it's something you can kind of take back. I could take back to my own racing here in sports cars.
Now, since you're a Honda / Acura guy now with your deal, would you actually still be allowed to do stock car races if the opportunity came?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I just raced the Ferrari Le Mans, and when I first heard of that opportunity, the first thing I did was ask the team and ask HRC if they'd be okay with me going to do it. So they're totally open for drivers getting more experience, racing different things, learning new things that we can bring back to the program. So I think NASCAR is still kind of on my radar to do some road course racing and some more late model oval racing as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was really fun having you there. Did the rest of the drivers really welcome you when you had your cup opportunity? Yeah,
I think obviously everyone at Hendrick, all my teammates there were super helpful. I remember Michael McDowell coming over to share a lot of time. Justin Allgaier was another one that really helped a lot on the Xfinity weekend to kind of get a better understanding of how that car drove. But everyone was super welcoming. I think once the helmets go on race day, everyone treats you a little bit differently, but outside the car, everyone was nice and friendly and welcoming.
Yeah, obviously IMSA racing can be aggressive, but NASCAR is on like another level. I mean, how difficult is it to get used to the level of aggression that you would see in a NASCAR race?
I think specifically the race that I did, COTA, was especially aggressive. I think after that weekend, everyone had a bit of a talk and calmed down a little bit at the future races. And I think they also made some changes to the crash structure of the car to soften it up, so the cars weren't so robust. So I think the amount of contact that we had that weekend was a little extreme. You can never get away with it in sports cars because the cars would just crumple and you'd be out of the race in an instant. So it was definitely a little eye-opening to feel what it was like back then. But I'd love to give it another shot to kind of see what it's like these days. It does look a little bit tamer relatively. I know there's still a lot of contact and guys still fighting for position, but I think the contact will be a little bit softer.
Oh yeah. Now, in addition to that, you were the basically support driver and test driver for Garage 56 last year. What's the most rewarding thing that came out of that for you?
I think the relationships I made was the best thing. Obviously, you're working very closely with everyone at Hendrick Motorsports and Chevrolet and Goodyear. and that being involved with that program is what led to the Cup opportunity, which led to the late model opportunity and the Xfinity opportunity. And that's a bunch of guys that I still keep in contact with now, and I still do some stuff with Garage 56. We went and did the demo laps at the MotoGP race at Coda. We did the VIR lap for Motor Trend last year. So it's a great group of guys. I love being involved with Hendrick on the side, and they're just true racers. So I don't know how much we can hear from now on, but yeah, it's been a good relationship.
Unfortunately, race cars are very loud.
Yeah.
So you need to whip all the hybrid stuff that's still loud. Alright. We still have half the season remaining out here. What would make this season, what would make you satisfied with this season at the end?
Sorry?
What would, in the second half of this season, what kind of performance would make you satisfied with this season as a whole?
Yeah, I think we need to fight for some more race wins. We need to be fighting for podiums every weekend. Obviously, we've had 2 podiums so far. I think if we need to kind of get podiums the rest of the year and fight for some wins.
Now, obviously, you did Le Mans and the Ferrari lesson. What was the quirkiest thing that you noticed during your time at Le Mans last week?
I think every time you go to Le Mans, you learn something new. The conditions were crazy with the rain on and off all through the night, so kind of being forced to run slicks in the wet, on the damp conditions. You learn a lot as a driver every time you go there, so it's a lot of stuff I can take away.
Alright, man.
Steven Stump of Frontstretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.